John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hey there, John Ulzheimer here. I hope y'all are having a great day. This question comes from a consumer, and it's a combination of a bunch of different topics that I like to talk about. So the question specifically is, if I don't have any information on my credit report except for the fact that I'm an authorized user on someone else's credit card account, is that sufficient in order to generate the type of FICO score that is used in mortgage lending? So this question is really specific and nuanced, and so I'm going to have to unpack this a little bit. So number one, a lot of consumers, especially young consumers, establish credit for the first time by becoming an authorized user on someone else's pre-existing credit card account. That's how I did it. You know, back in the 1980s, my father added me. I've said this multiple times in my videos. My father added me to a Sears credit card, and that was the first account that ever showed up on my credit report. Obviously this was a long time ago. That's how I established credit. There was at one time a credit report with my name on it that had a Sears credit card account that indicated that I was an authorized user on that particular card. So that's not an uncommon way for consumers to establish and begin to build their credit reports. So the question is as well, is that sufficient in order to calculate a FICO score? And on top of that, the generation of FICO score that's used in mortgage lending. So the generation of FICO score that is used in mortgage lending is actually a pretty old version. It's either 3 or 4 generations off the most current version. So think of iPhone 6, if you will. It still works, but it's not, the latest and greatest version of the particular tool. But in mortgage lending, FHFA has a mandate that these older scoring systems have to be used, which is why they're still in commercial use today. Those older versions, you would have to qualify for a score under not only those older FICO score versions, but also any of the more contemporary scoring versions. So of all the FICO developed risk scores that are commercially available today, they all have one thing in common, at least one thing in common, and that is that they all have the same minimum scoring criteria, meaning that there has to be a minimum amount of information on a credit report in order to generate a FICO score. And here is what that minimum information is. You have to have at least one account that is older than 6 months old, and at least one account that has been updated in the past 6 months. And those accounts have to be undisputed or not in dispute. And you also can't have a deceased indicator on your credit report, but that's different than the account information. So one account older than 6 months, one account updated within the last 6 months, and no deceased indicator, and those accounts can't be in dispute. If you check all those boxes, you're going to qualify for a FICO score, regardless of whether or not it's the version used for mortgage lending or the much more contemporary versions like FICO 8, FICO 9, FICO 10 that are more widely used for all other types of lending. So you're probably wondering, wait a minute, that means you have to have 2 accounts? No. One account can qualify you under all of those criteria. So let me give you an example. Let's say hypothetically that you are added as an authorized user on a credit card account that was opened 10 years ago that just updated last month, and it's not in dispute, and you're not dead. If all of those things are true, then your credit report is going to qualify for a FICO score under all of the FICO score generations and variations. So that's good news, because for someone like me, I look back kind of on my own personal situation. Back in the day when my father added me as an authorized user on that credit card, I had nothing else on my credit report would have been able to qualify for a score because the account had been open for many years and it was updating every single month. And I wasn't deceased, obviously, and the account wasn't in dispute. So yes, if you're an authorized user, as long as the account meets those older than and updated within criteria that we discussed, then you will qualify for a FICO score that's used in mortgage lending. So if you have any other questions about minimum scoring criteria, drop them in the comment section below. We'll talk again soon. Have a great day.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.